You suddenly become aware of your surroundings. You can't move, but you're aware. You can't think of much as your brain hasn't fully developed yet, but you know you can't move. You are effectively stuck in the ground. You remain like this for days. Each day you process slightly more, but not much. Days pass. Eventually you start to feel what you believe is hunger. More days pass. Congratulations. Now you have teeth. This should help with the hunger. More days go by. You continue to grow quite slowly until it finally happens. You have legs. You have teeth, and you have an appetite. You don't know much, but you sure as hell know how to eat. As you move from your birthplace, you see dozens more of whatever you are sprouting up out of the ground. There are some fairly decayed bodies around you in which your kin are sprouting from. You note this is interesting, and then your stomach rumbles and you're reminded of the hunger. You decide your kin can make a fine meal. After your quite filling meal, you have a bit more energy and decide to leave your birthplace. After some time, you stumble across a makeshift city full of makeshift shacks. You can hear loud banging and hoops and hollers coming from the sheet metal structures. You decide to enter it. Inside the makeshift city, you see all walks of life. It is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Granted, you haven't seen much, as you've probably only been alive for give or take a few hours. The people in here are all beautifully green. Short green people, large green people that are part metal. Most don't pay you much mind if you give you a glance as you wander about. You hear the word squig occasionally. It might apply to you, but words don't mean much to you. In fact, you don't even know what a word is. All you know is that, in your lack of thought, one of the larger green folks has snatched you up by your small tail. Wait, you just now learned you have a tail. You will now go out of this world knowing that you at least have a tail, as the large green person lowers you down into his large tusks and drops you. Another green person has pushed the one about to consume you and says some gibberish to him, something like, "That one looks like a runner. Let's use him." You have no idea what this means. You are thrown into a pen with others of your kind. You're here for a while, but you're well fed. You continue to grow and you are quite content with your existence. You have gotten quite big, as the large green folks have fed you very well. They were even kind enough to toss you some smaller green people that were very good. Then one day, one of the larger greenies snatched you up from your pen with your fellow squigs and placed you inside a cage. You do not like this. You are loaded up onto a fast red vehicle and transported to the front of some battle. This is your first battle, and the noise fills you with excitement, and the sweet scent of death and Daka hones in your nerves. You have no idea what any of this actually means, as you are only a squig, but something in your DNA knows this is your purpose. You are released and strapped with something around your rotund body. You understand your calling now. A runner. You charge through trenches on the battlefield, passing carnage on your way. Your targets are pale and fleshy, not nearly green enough for your liking. You weave through the fray as fast as you can until finally find a large holdout of enemies in a foxhole. You dive in and explode. Everything is dark, but you are aware again. You actually understand your surroundings a bit better. You hoist yourself up off the ground and brush some dirt off. Wait, you have arms. Rejoice! You are able to claw through the dirt, and the sensation, while strange, is new and welcome. You're also quite a bit smarter now. Not quite an orc boy smart, but smarter than you were before. Wait, how do you know that? That's new, but you somehow understand what it is immediately. It's one of those large green guys you saw in your previous life. You also understand you are but a humble Gretchen, whatever that means. You begin to explore. You're within a small dark cave. There's a stream running through the cave, and you just grew from a small embankment of soil at one of the corners of the stream. You follow the stream up and out of the cave. Outside the cave is a beautiful, bustling Orky encampment. You see greenskins everywhere going about their day to day. The cave exits on a large rock wall that overlooks the camp. You try to scramble down. You're successful yet ungraceful as you get used to your new appendages. You get a few cuts and scrapes on your way down. Perfect. You fit right in now. You make your way about the encampment, taking in all new sights and sounds. A small squig runs by you and you give your former self a little kick just for shits and giggles. As the squig scampers off, you chuckle to yourself, and in the distance you see two smaller orc boys fidgeting about with a munitions pile. They are talking about their newly acquired gear from a dead guard regiment and trying to see what they can engineer with a las rifle. You sit down and decide to enjoy the show. After some time, they have successfully strapped grenades to the underside of the las rifle and managed to override the firing mechanism so the rifle is overcharged for maximum Daka, in their words. As they decide to test the firepower on their new fancy Shuda on a nearby squig, the orc boy's engineering backfires and the Shuda erupts in a massive explosion. This is the funniest thing you have ever seen. You are quite literally rolling about on the ground laughing. You weren't capable of tears in your former form, but now the laughter has brought a tear to your eye. As you watch one of the surviving orc boys run about with no arms, like a big green squig, you think to yourself. Probably about as smart as one too. You initially thought you were a bit lower on the intelligence scale, but your little time alive has made you reconsider this notion, after watching several orc boys manage to blow themselves up. In the midst of your laughter, you feel a shadow come over you. You stop and trace the shadow to its source. It is a rather large boy, possibly even a boss. He says, "Oi, you think it's funny, is it, Grot?" and proceeds to lift his tremendous foot over your head. "I'll show you what's real funny," and he proceeds to crush you like a bug, as is the natural order of things you think to yourself in your final moments. Here we are, yet again. Last go around. You're alive, you're aware, and you are actually pretty comfortable wherever you are. You can't see, but you know you're safe. You are content. Time passes, you're not sure how long, and all of a sudden your surroundings feel a bit more snug. Not to worry, you're still fairly comfortable. More time passes and you begin to feel more and more cramped by your surroundings, like flesh in a can of corpse starch. You are now no longer comfortable. You must escape. You start to thrash and eventually one of your hands punctures the ground. You claw through the dirt and scramble out of your cocoon. The air is brisk, especially since it's your first time feeling it, and the damp soil makes the light breeze around feel even cooler. You take a moment to stretch, fairly clumsily as you get used to your new body, much like a baby deer getting its footing for the first time. At last, you finally have space again. You look at your new body and your new environment, and you are substantially larger than you once were. Small tusks poking out from your lower jaw, dark green skin, and bristling with large muscles. Congratulations, you are now an orc boy. As you take the time to get used to your new body, you suddenly realize that the safe, cozy feeling you once had in your cocoon is gone. You are in a foreign world and land, and you really don't know much. You set off to get a lay of the land. It's been a few hours, and you've been venturing through the jungle. You have adjusted to your new body quickly, and you are moving much more gracefully than you were after hatching. Something stops you in your tracks. A strange grunting sound. Something starts moving very quickly through the brush, rushing towards you. A large grunta, also known as a boar, emerges from the foliage at a very high velocity, slamming straight into you and sending you spiraling backwards. You rise to your feet and charge the grunta straight on. Congrats. You won your first proper scrap. It wasn't easy, but you survived and you were stronger and slightly larger for it. You got quite the thrill out of the battle and you immediately crave more. You spend the next couple of weeks on your own hunting gruntas. You've grown a bit from this and you've also sustained some injuries. You are starting to look properly orky. Something is missing though, a sense of belonging or community. You must tell others of your battles, and you are starting to get quite bored of the gruntas. You set off, once again, in the search to find more orc boys and even bigger scraps. Thank you all so much for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed this little creative story on just the orc life cycle, and I want to get some more orc content out there. Thank you for your patience, and also I hope the audio sounds a bit better. I've been trying to upgrade my setup a bit, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, interact with the video in some way, or don't. I can't really tell you what to do, but just remember I love you, and goodbye.